and welcome to the Just Xander podcast. I'm your host, Xander Gray, and this is episode 44. I felt like blue today. Usually I have hot pink in the background, but I feel like blue today. Like a little baby blue going on. I had an agenda today of what I wanted to talk about, but something happened right before I started, so we're going to talk about that instead. So before we begin, I want to do a little check-in, yeah? How do I feel today? How do I feel today at this very moment? I feel you know? Nothing bad. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 or 6, 5.5 maybe. Is that bad? It's kind of you know? Like I was listening to a podcast, like as I often do. I listen to a lot of different types of podcasts, but excuse me, this is more of a scientific one-ish. And they're talking about levels of happiness, right? Like what you have to do to make yourself happy. Is it like a feeling thing, or is it like a brain chemistry thing? Anyway, let's not get into it because I'm not a scientist. I'm not wearing a lab coat. I listen, and they were saying that most humans, again, don't quote me on this. This is a podcast. Most humans don't really know how they really feel. Like a 7 for me could be a 4 for you, could be a 5 for you, you know? So it's very subjective. And it's super subjective. So it's tough unless like I'm extremely happy, I'm at a 10 or 11, then you're not really going to know exactly how I feel, correct? So I don't feel sad or upset or angry or anything. I just feel you know? And I don't know exactly, like I usually almost every day I tend to check in a little bit on myself, just kind of like, okay, how do I feel today? And yeah, I just feel today, you know? I oftentimes and I think this is with everybody, again, I don't want to project or I don't want to assume this. When I'm doing something, let's say work or whatever, and I'm like the most present, like I have to get something done and I'm present, I don't think about how I feel. I don't think about the weird narratives that I have in my head, negative or not, you know? I don't think about that stuff. It's only momentarily I'm just like, oh yeah, I feel anxious today, you know, stuff like that. But it hasn't been that bad, to be quite honest, which is good. And again, today I had a thing that I wanted to talk about, so maybe we'll come back to it. However, let's start with what I wanted to say, right? And this is not sappy or anything. I think it's needed to be said. So I've been working on building a relationship with my mom again. Obviously after what happened, right? And if you don't know, you can. I mean, I talk about it all the time, so you'll know. And so I'm building that relationship with her again, and it's been good. It's been great. We've been having dinners every other week-ish, you know, sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, you know, just depending. If she feels like she wants to get food and she's like, hey, I'm getting some food. Do you want to come over and have dinner with us or whatever? So it's been good. But I also know the boundaries that I need to have with her, because I know that she's not capable of the emotional support that I need. And that's okay, because I have that with other people. So I'm okay with that. I've accepted it. And I love her. I love her to death. She's my mother, and she's my mom, and there are certain things, So anyway, I'll get to it. So I stopped by. We had dinner, and I was just doing my laundry there because it doesn't matter. I brought my laundry over because I needed to do it there. Anyway, TMI. And so whilst I was putting clothes away or whatever, she was looking at my Instagram because moms are on Instagram now. So she's looking at my Instagram. She's like, "Hey, what's that thing that you do a lot?" I was like, "I don't know, cry." No, bitch and whine about stuff. Emotionally overshare. No, she was talking about podcasting, and I was like, "Oh yeah, podcasting." She's like, and I already, I know what's coming. She was like, how do I say this? I think you shouldn't. I was like, ugh, here we go. And she was like, I don't know how to say it. And she's like, you shouldn't look too pitiful. Let's take a moment here. You shouldn't sound or look. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember pitiful. She's like, maybe you shouldn't look so pitiful. And I was like, huh, how so? And again, don't attack my mom. Don't this is just how she was brought up, okay? And she was like, I don't want people to think of you that way. And then I was trying to be nice. I was like, I don't give a fuck about what people think of me. Just kidding. I didn't say that. I said, well, I don't care what other people think. I don't care. I care about the people I care about think. Yes. I care about the people I love, how they think of me. Of course, 1000%. But generally, I don't. And this is the topic that I wanted to talk about. This is why, I'm just going to say it. This is why men are so fucking afraid to be vulnerable and to feel weak. And even though it's not feeling weak, it's like, this is why men are so scared to talk about their fucking feelings, because of this. And look, if you listen to this podcast, I've been very genuine and very honest with how I feel about certain things, about my own life. I'm essentially oversharing my fucking life to an extent, right? It's you will know more about me than I know about you, right? And it's a choice, right? And I don't have to do this. I do it because, one, I can't fucking afford therapy. So this is a form of therapy. This, music, being around people, being sociable, uplifting people, that shit is therapy for me. That shit brings me joy, brings me fulfillment, happiness, and I'm still working on it, yeah? And before this podcast, this whole thing really was for, and it changes. Okay, let's talk about purpose or whatever. It's gonna continually change. But as this moment right now, this podcast is for men my age, older, younger. I want to show you and tell you that it's fucking okay to talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about that bothers you, that scares you, that bring you anxiety, fear, insecurity, all that shit. I want to show you that you can do that. And again, there are times on this podcast I'm very vulnerable. I've cried on this podcast, okay? But I 1000% do not feel any less of a man. Again, I'm not a tough guy. I'm very nice, but I but if you hurt the people I care about, I feel sorry for you because I would see red. Again, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying this is why. And again, I may sound angry. I'm just not. I'm not angry. That's the thing. When she brought it up, when my mom said that, before, honestly, before I would be upset, before I would start yelling at her, whatever. But I feel bad, almost, because I feel bad that she still thinks that way of. And I know she's thinking about me. I know she's thinking about my well-being. All I said was, it's gonna be okay. I'll be okay. And then if I'm not, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And I will ask for help. I will ask for genuine help from people if I feel the most low or the most, you know. To go back, I still battle this. Not as much anymore. A few weeks ago, or even a month, maybe weeks ago, I felt shitty, man. I felt low. I felt unworthy. I felt not enough. I wanted to fucking kill myself. Okay, let's just put it out there. Okay, I did. I did. And I was ashamed of it. But I couldn't help but feel that way. Obviously, I'm still here. I didn't go through with it, but I haven't outwardly say it, but I've thought about it a lot at the time. And I knew. And I was struggling. I was struggling, man. Like, really, I just didn't know who to talk to. And okay, let me just work out. Let me just meditate. Let me just figure shit out. But I was feeling so small. And I just talk to the people I care about, that I love. And they told me how they felt. They didn't feel sorry for me. They gave me even more love. And they saved my fucking life. Truly. And I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel small anymore. I don't want to feel unworthy, not enough. I don't feel any of that shit. But those feelings of anxiety and insecurity and all that, it's still there. But I have now, at this moment, as of right now, I have been aware and figured out a way to, I don't want to say combat, it was more like accept that feelings, those feelings of crappiness or whatever. And I sit with it, I assess it, I question it, and then I move on. And let me tell you something, right? People love you. They love you not because of your accolades, not because of the amount of money you have in the bank, not because the nice cars that you have, not because of the job you have, none of that shit. They love you because of you. They love you because of who you are and what you're about. And it's tough for me, Because if I'm not a certain way, if I don't do certain things, if I'm not worth something, then who the fuck would love me? I should love me for one, right? But I'm coming into terms of not feeling that way anymore. It takes a while because my reward, I can't even say reward. My reward or my validation was from the things that I did, and I thought that was it. But no, 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 no. Self-belief, self-awareness, self-actualization, self-whatever, right? Self-love, that shit is key, man. That shit is important. So important, right? And again, you hear this all the time. You hear, you hear, you know, you wouldn't talk to your friend like that, you know? Like you wouldn't talk to somebody you love like that. And how like I talk to myself, you know? And that's true. So I've devised, I suppose, whenever I feel a certain way, I kind of just give myself a pep talk, you know, or like tell myself that it sounds insane, but it's just like sorry, I talk to myself. I just go, "Hey man, it's all good, dude. It's all good. The shit that you're thinking about is not true. The job that you want, the amount of money in the bank, blah blah, dude, it doesn't matter. Just work on being a good person, work on doing things that you enjoy, work on loving yourself more. You know what I mean? And at first I thought if I were to work out and meditate and be sociable, blah blah blah, I thought those are the things that show that I love myself. But no, I think it's knowing yourself as much as possible as because you're gonna constantly change in life, right? It's about really knowing yourself and also being aware of all the bullshit, flaws, insecurities, anxiety, everything. And instead of like tossing it to the side, just kind of like embrace it a little bit. Hey, Deacon. I name my anxiety Deacon, you know, because I'm fucking crazy. Bro, I know you're there. Okay? I know you're there. But let's what do you need, man? What do you need? What do you need? Why are you feeling this way? I'm feeling this way because of this. Okay. Well, can I change it? Yeah, you can change it by doing this. I'm like, you know what? Okay. I'll start doing that. And I feel like anxiety and all that bullshit comes to you to kind of like make you feel uncomfortable. So like, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, kind of thing. If you see it that way, I don't know. Again, not a scientist, not a doctor. It's just I'm learning as I go currently. And once I really sit with myself, because again, lately, and we've talked about this, lately I've been feeling alone. I have friends. I'm seeing a wonderful girl. Sounds weird when I say it like that. I'm seeing a wonderful lady. Still weird. Woman, wonderful person. I'm seeing a wonderful person. And she's fucking great. She's amazing. But she has her own shit to do. She has her own life. You know what I mean? And I have to do my own shit too. And before I used to be insecure about like, fuck, am I boring? Am I doing enough? Am I cool enough? You know, am I trying too hard? Boy, that's, especially coming out from a relationship, I just, sometimes I don't know how to act, you know? Am I doing this right? And just the overthinking, you know? But again, I'm learning as I go. Fuck, this tea is good. Jesus, hold on a sec. This decaf, Earl Grey, shit's fire. With a little bit of soy milk. Yes, I drink soy milk, okay? Okay, you have to drink a lot of soy. If, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm vulnerable. I'm talking about emotional shit. Not because I drink soy milk. I don't drink it. Oh, well, I bought soy milk. Whatever. I drink it with my tea. And it's fucking delicious. Okay. I'm gonna buy oat milk. All right, just shut up. It was cheaper. So what was I? Where was I? You have to do your own shit, you know. And I was being so used to a different relationship. I was just like, am I doing it right or whatever? Like she's great. If I can tell you a little bit about her, she's great. She's fucking funny. She makes me laugh. She's Look, I'm a dork. She calls me a dork, but this bitch is a dork. Just kidding. She's fucking great. I enjoy her very much. But anyway, but I'm alone 90% of the time. You know what I mean? So I had to get used to, when you're dating somebody or you're seeing somebody, you're alone a lot. Like I was so used to being married and seeing that person every day. Even then, okay, where am I going with this? What I'm saying is, I had some time to be with myself. Okay? And in the beginning, didn't like myself, in the beginning, didn't really enjoy my company. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I don't want to be alone. I want to be around people all the time. And before I was so comfortable being alone, but I think because I had my dogs and my ex around at the time, when we were together. So there's always people in the house. But now, like, it's like I'm alone a lot, and why my voice went that high. And so I've slowly have worked on being comfortable with being alone. And with that comes with all that noise in my head, all that noise. And again, it's not turning the noise down. It's leveling out at an acceptable volume, if that makes any sense. Because it's still there. The thoughts are still there. But have kind of listened to those thoughts and to that noise and just like, is this going to benefit me? Not really. Okay. But before we let go of these thoughts and these narratives, why was I feeling that way? How am I feeling right now? So it's a lot of checking in, and most men don't do that. Let's be honest, they don't. And I'm not saying they're not functional or whatever. What I'm saying is I'm talking to you, talking to men out there, right? Younger, older, I'm 35. Do you have somebody that you can talk to? Do you have an outlet? Do you have something that you can do to release that Coca-Cola bottle full of Mentos? You get what I'm saying? Is there a thing that you can do to open the cap to release all that tension? I don't know if that's the worst analogy or the best analogy. Let's go with You know what I mean? And again, women do this too. Not all women talk about their feelings. But again, I'm not a woman, so I don't know. It just depends on what your upbringing and whatnot. And I know mine. I know mine very, very clearly. And I'm about to write all that shit down. You know what I mean? Like what I went through, trauma, everything, and just kind of to when I remember to the things that I've done. Because I think, and it's not really living your past. It's just really understanding it a little bit better, Like I want to live a fulfilled life. I want to live a happy, fulfilled life, But right now, I'm juggling the fear of mediocrity. I'm juggling like, fuck, like Am I gonna have money for stuff? Am I working at the right job? Am I just not gonna make money? Like, recently I've been writing a lot of music. I enjoy it. I like it. But the back of my head, the back of my mind always said, like, how do you monetize this? I want to live off of it. But again, that's not what it's about, right? And I'm juggling that right now. That's my issue. And amongst other things, obviously, I don't know. I'm here to say that as of this moment of right now, doing things I enjoy that bring me some sort of peace and believing in myself and loving myself, still working on that. It's real work, and I think it's needed. It's needed to be done, And I get that people have responsibilities, you have bills to pay, you have to work, and if you have kids or you have a significant other, you have to be a certain way. I fucking get it. I was there. Minus the kids part. And I thought I was doing the right thing, but I had so much pent up shit. I didn't realize that I didn't assess. I didn't like talk about. I was losing my mind, man. I was losing my mind. Okay? I thought I was happy. I was fucking unhappy, bro. Okay? I thought I was happy. I wasn't. And I want to piggyback this little quick conversation. At that time, I was almost searching myself and just trying to figure shit out. Like, what? This weird feeling is swirling around. What the fuck is that? And it's like my body's like telling me, like, bro, you need to start figuring this shit out. You need to start assessing. You need to start being aware of this real shit right here that's going on right now, And I just didn't know what it was. And I was like meditating. I was working out. I was like, am I doing this right? I was feeling anxious all the time. And again, not trying to blame my wife because I wasn't easy to handle all the time. I was angry all the time. So my ex, sorry. And she's a fucking therapist. You know what I mean? I guess she didn't see the signs. Maybe she did. She didn't know how to bring it up to me. She was afraid that I'd get angry or something. I don't know. Again, I don't know. But it felt like I was that Coca-Cola bottle full of Coke and with 10 Mentos in it. And the cap was sealed tight. And I was just like gurgling. Worst word to use. I was bubbling. Shit. Not very good with adjectives right now. You know what I mean? I was imploding. And I was listening to this podcast, and I start researching Carl Jung and individuation, all that shit. And it was starting to click. I was like, okay, maybe this is the work that I'm doing. Anyway, that podcast, and I hope I'm not pushing this because I've been conversing with the guy that runs that podcast. His name is MJ Dorian, and we're going to do a podcast together. I just asked, hey, would you want to be a guest on my podcast? So hopefully, maybe the next one or the following one, he's going to be a guest on my podcast. I mean, damn, that's fucking cool. From 1 to 10, that is a definite 10 for me. And that would be a great podcast. I'm fucking nervous as shit because, like, he's dope. So his podcast saved my life too. His podcast really helped me, And anyway, at the time I didn't know what was going on, and I was searching, and now That's what I'm saying. This work is real. This work is fulfilling. Getting to know yourself, knowing all your bullshit, knowing all your flaws. And again, it's not trying to fix them. It's just being aware of them, and then the shitty patterns that you do, the negative ones, you you just have to be aware of it and ask your closest friends or build relationships, and then kind of like, is there a thing that I do that annoys you, or is there a thing that I do that's kind of not healthy, or blah blah. You know what I mean? Like for me at the time, I was resentful of friends for not checking in on me and shit, because I do that with them a lot. And when they tell me that, I get angry or whatever. But that's a good indicator of like figuring stuff out. Because why am I resentful? And it's just really understanding that most people are not capable of doing that. Most people don't do that. You know what I mean? And it's not like they don't care. They just don't have the capacity to. They have their own lives. And if I check in on them, they text me back, then that's good. So that's one of them, right? And you kind of you have to ask, man. You have to ask yourself. You have to ask. It's real fucking work. It's not fucking easy, and it's forever. It's a forever thing. So you have to be okay with that too. You can't do all this work in 6 months and then you're fixed. It doesn't work that way. You do the work in 6 months. Now you know 6 months worth of your bullshit. And then the next 6 months could be something else. You just learn as you go. That's where I'm at right now. Again, I'm not perfect. Still very flawed. Still very unsure of myself sometimes. Still very insecure about shit. Anxious about shit. But because of the awareness of it, it has made me a better human being. It has made me a better person to be around with, Not saying that I was a bad person to be around with before. I'm just aware of it. Sometimes, sometimes I forget. So that technically wasn't the topic that I wanted to talk about today, but because of the whole conversation with my mom, the quick conversation with my mom, I just had to bring it up because I think it's important. I think it's very important to at least attempt to talk about how you feel, man. You don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to overshare. I know I do. I overshare a lot. I can talk about that shit all the time, and I get it. Some people don't have the capacity to. I'm just saying, be aware that when you do feel that way, reach out to people. Maybe even strangers that might be able to help, or better yet, if you can afford it, go see a therapist. Therapy it saves lives if you get the right therapist. Okay, if you get the right therapist, that shit will save your life. Because that person's gonna, but you have to be open to it. You have to overshare, and also take the advice or take what that person is gonna tell you, not like, oh, I'm fucked now. No, it's like everybody has flaws. Everybody has insecurities. That shit is the most normal of shit. You know what I mean? But you need to know that so you can work on it. You can be aware of it. You can get better at living your own life and understanding yourself. Anyway, that's what I really want to talk about. I can't think of anything else right now, and I'm still trying to figure out the structure of this podcast or whatever. My room's a little weird, so I'm just I don't know. What do you guys think with the weird anime background? Is that cool? Is it distracting? Maybe, I don't know. It's fucking cool though, right? Anyway, I think it's cool. So I'll leave you with that, right? that it's okay to feel a certain way sometimes, you know, just don't, again, I'm not telling you what to do. Most of this is my own advice. Don't hold it in too much or too long, you know. You can talk about it, assess it, and then let it go, you know. I still got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do still. A lot. But I'm there. I want to do the work. I want to get better. I want to live my I want to live my best life. No, I want to live my happy life. I want to be, again, can't be happy all the time. That shit is momentary, okay? That shit is momentary. It's very fleeting. That's why you need to do it. You know? Anyway, that is it for tonight. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing great. And if you're wondering, I've been good. So far, I've been good. And I hope you are too. So I bid you adieu. Oh God, so pretentious. Have a good night. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.